you obviously speak quite a lot about it on your Instagram. You came through an eating disorder before the personal training, didn't you? Like, how did that start, and what sort of age was it that that happened?
So it was actually very young. As a child, I'd always been like, had no problems with food at all. Was like really, I love food. I was very like, had a big character and like enjoyed life. And I think it happened when I got to like puberty age, about 14, 15. I started becoming more aware of how I was looking. And I think obviously all girls, when they get to like 14, 15, they're like, they hit puberty, they get a bit more curvy, they
Yeah,
like gain a bit more weight, which is like completely normal. And I think I found that quite difficult. I kind of felt like I needed to be like skinny and slim to be loved, which is ridiculous. I think it was like a few like triggers that happened in my life where I'd felt out of control, and like my dad, he didn't mean anything by it, but like he kind of said something which was like, oh, you gained a bit of weight. Or my best friend at the time, her mum was like macrobiotic, which I don't know if you've heard of. It's a type
no,
of diet. So she was very like talking to us always about dieting and stuff like that. And I think like a normal someone like who doesn't have that eating disorder predisposition
yeah.
would be fine. But for me, it triggered. I started like dieting and it just got more and more extreme. Um, I remember when I was like at school, I started like not having my packed lunch
Right.
and chucking it away. And at the beginning, it was like I wanted to look good, but then it got to a point where it was like it wasn't about looking good because I started like getting so thin. I think I went down to like 5 stone, which is
Wow. Yeah.
like, yeah, I ended up having to be hospitalized. And yeah, I was in like 2 different hospitals. Um, so yeah, it kind of really spiraled out of control quite quickly.
So we're
So yeah, that
talking like
was,
14, 15 years of age at 5 stone in hospital.
yeah. So yeah, I guess like it was years ago now because
Yeah.
now I'm 32. So,
Right.
and I was 15, 16 at the time. So yeah, it happened at a really young age. And I think I kind of suffered with my eating disorder. It wasn't just like, although I was really unwell at that point, I managed to kind of get myself out of hospital, gained weight, started seeing friends. I remember like at 21, but I still wasn't in a healthy mindset
Yeah.
in regards to like my body and my body image and my health.
Yeah.
I was still very slim. I got really into running. Started like joining athletics, becoming quite into like that kind of fitness.
So making it potentially even
Um,
harder to come back out of that, I imagine, if you're doing extra
yeah,
exercise.
yeah, exactly. I didn't have a period, so my body obviously wasn't balanced or in a healthy place. And then I started getting into the bodybuilding side, so started getting into more weight training and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. But obviously, it was over like years.
Yeah. So I imagine like a big turning point would have been being in hospital to begin with. I imagine that was a big turning point to sort of say what I'm doing is not right or working the way you wanted it to originally.
Yeah, well, I went to a psychiatric ward, which was horrible because there were girls in there that had like psychosis and stuff, like young, which was
Right.
quite difficult.
Yeah.
And I was there for like months. I couldn't see my mum. It was quite horrible. They like gave me, um, medication to go on and stuff like that. It
Yeah.
wasn't nice. And then I left there when I was 16. And then I ended up losing the weight again. And then I went to this ward in London called Rhodes Farm. Um, I don't know if you know Nikki Graham, who was on Big Brother, but she went to that hospital. She
I
actually died.
remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah, she was on Big Brother a while ago.
Yeah.
So I was there for like, and honestly, like even if you didn't have an eating disorder, being in like one of these kind of clinics would probably like, they made you eat like Mars bars, meat. Even if you were vegetarian,
Right.
you had to eat meat. And if you didn't eat it, they'd mix it with double cream and put a tube up your nose and force feed you. You couldn't see your family. It was
It's
like
a
prison.
strange.
So they
It's a
made you as
strange
well get
diet.
your weight. Yeah, like not healthy, no vegetables.
Yeah,
Just
not
like,
like nutritious, just pure
yeah, because
calories.
they were trying to get you like used to like not being scared of food, but it actually made the
Yeah,
situation worse.
I can
As well as
imagine.
being around loads of girls obsessed with food. It just wasn't
Yeah.
a great environment. Um, so I was there. probably for about 5 months, I think, quite a long time. And then my mum actually ended up taking me out early because she didn't really like agree with how it was run.
Yeah, I'm
They're
not
not actually
surprised.
allowed to have units like that anymore because it's more just hospitals now. Because I think it was
Right,
kind of like a farmhouse building in the country, like
right.
in London, kind of just outside.
Yeah,
And now, because of like health and safety, I think a girl like hung herself or something in there. And now
bloody
it's very
hell.
much like you have to be in hospital if you have an eating disorder.
Yeah,
So yeah, I left that hospital, and then my mom took me out early, and then I was in such like a anorexic headspace that I ended up just losing weight again, got really unwell. And then I saw a doctor, and he said that my like pulse was so low that I could die, so I
bloody
should be
hell.
sectioned. And it was that point when I was like, I don't want to go back into hospital. And I
Yeah,
did everything I could to stay out of the hospital because I didn't want to go back. So I gradually started like eating more, trying to like gain. I remember I'd eat like, I don't know if you know, like halva, and like put olive oil on everything, kind of like to try and get my calories up.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, and slowly I started going to like, I went to university and I started like interacting with people my age, and it took time, but like gradually I kind of like realized there was more of a life
yeah.
outside of being just like controlled by this eating disorder.